All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, May 20th. We got game number 1 of the Western Conference Finals to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into this game. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so what I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. So we had no NBA yesterday, but a couple days ago we did have that game 7 between the Thunder and the Nuggets, and we go 1-2. The plus money play of the over cashes, but unfortunately the Thunder in the first quarter does not, and then same game parlay that we rolled with there, that doesn't come through either. So 1-2, and I hope to do a little bit better today. I do like this matchup. I think we're going to see a better series than some people may think. The Thunder and the Timberwolves split their season series 2-2 during the year. So yes, the Thunder you might be looking at it as the 1 seed, Minnesota the 6th seed. I don't think this is going to be a cakewalk for the 1 seed there, but let's go ahead and dive into it, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're dropping your favorite plays down in the comments. Helps out a ton of people watching this video, and give your reasoning and rationale and let the people know why you like that play, because I've been saying it all playoffs long. There's so many plays that are getting thrown out in the comments that I'm like, wow, that's a really interesting angle to come from, one that I wouldn't even have thought myself. So you're helping out a ton of people if you got some nice insight down there. But let's dive into this. Which side do I lean towards overall? I do think for game 1 in the Thunder's house, they're coming in with a little bit more momentum than having, a bunch of days off. The Timberwolves haven't played in almost a week. So I will lean Thunder minus the 7 points. If someone's on the Timberwolves side of things, I'm not really trying to talk them off of it, but my biggest thing would be that this Thunder team should be able to be the more consistent offense. Now, I think the Timberwolves angle, and we'll talk about that with some player props and what we like with the total in a second, but the Timberwolves angle should be to be able to hit some of the 3-point shots, whether it's pull up or catch and shoot, spot up, that type of thing. But I don't trust that as much as I do the Thunder's ability to be able to just, score 2s on 2s on 2s. Now, this Timberwolves defense is very good. Their paint defense is good as well, but they're definitely and we saw it, so we've seen it so far in the playoffs, they're definitely a defense that specializes, and I think that's a fair word to use, specializes at preventing points around the perimeter. That's not exactly what the Thunder's go-to is going to be, right? They will have their spot ups, and maybe everyone outside of Shea may get some of those looks, but realistically, that offense is going to be Shea, whether it's an isolation, pick and roll, or transition, trying to get to the hoop, trying to get to the mid-range. So I do think that the Thunder's offense can kind of fit into, I guess, perform well in terms of what this Minnesota offense maybe doesn't specialize in. But again, everything that I'm saying, I don't want it to sound like I'm coming at it from an angle of there's no way that Minnesota can stop the Thunder down low. It's really not that. These are two teams that are here for a reason, so it's really tough to kind of parse out and split hairs as to why we like one side. I just think that the fact that the Thunder played 2 days ago actually helps them in this case, whereas Minnesota may have a little bit of rust to shake off, and you know that they're probably sitting there being like, oh, we don't want the Thunder, we don't want the Thunder, we want the Nuggets, because Minnesota had some good numbers against the Nuggets this year. They didn't get what they wanted. Now they have to go to OKC and play this team. So though this isn't, the most number-based or analytical-based side pick, I do think that there are some reasons and narratives that kind of help out here. So Thunder -7. Do we get that down as a final play? I'm not all that sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more totals and player props, for the remainder here, because these spreads are going to be scrutinized and everything, and it's going to be really hard to find edges on those. But speaking of total, let's kind of turn gears and get to the total. I do think that this is a game that can go over based on what we saw in the regular season between these two teams. And I know it's the regular season, it's not the same, but we saw a 113-105 game. We saw a 116-101 game, a 130-123 game, and then an overtime game of 131-128. So obviously all of those went over. 2 of them did just go over by the half point on the hook, but I still think that both these teams can play with enough pace. Now, we were talking about it all Golden State series long with the Timberwolves, right? They're not exactly playing with the craziest of pace, but they know when to turn the dial up and when to start to get running. And I would say that that's going to be a very similar thing that they should want to do here against the Thunder, because this Thunder team will play transition defense. They will play half-court defense. So if they're locking you up in the half-court, I wouldn't be surprised if they say, okay, in the huddle, right? Let's get the ball and let's run and try and switch things up. So I think at the very least, we're going to get the quantity of some transition basketball in this game, because we know the Thunder will want to run and get to the rim as well. So I do think an over 216.5 is in play here. I already explained why I think the Thunder will be able to score, and kind of hinted at why I think Minnesota will, or how I think Minnesota will be able to score. The catch and shoot threes, even the pull up threes. This Thunder team is, I would say, most likely going to give them a hard time scoring down low, right? That just makes sense overall. This is a Thunder team that's very good defense. They're good on the outside as well. I'm not saying that they're not, but they do have this slight weakness when they're not, defending the ball handler and whatnot. They're good against the isolation, good against the pick and roll, good at the rim. But the catch and shoot, even the pull-up threes sometimes, can be a little bit of their weakness. We've seen this Minnesota team kind of have decent numbers in the regular season from the outside. I think all but one game that they played, they shot, I want to say it was like they shot 28% in one game, and then it was 35, 40, and 40, something like that. If they're able to do that, I do think Minnesota can kind of broach a decent scoring number today. And like I said, I think the Thunder actually win this game. So if Minnesota scores a decent number, the Thunder are going to score an even better number, I would say. So over 217.5 is what I'd look at as well in this one. And again, it's kind of just based on, I guess, the idea of Minnesota being able to run at times. All right, now before we do dive into the player props that we like in this one, I'm going to talk to you guys about Prize Picks. It's Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday, meaning they will be discounting some players over on their app. But the best thing is still the Play 5, Get 50 deal. As a new customer right now, all you have to do is place a $5 entry as a new customer. You're going to get $50 instantly in return. If you cash that entry, you get that payout as well. You're well on your way to building yourself a nice little bankroll over on PrizePicks. So go ahead and check it out. That link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment, or you can just use code GUYBOSTON when signing up. Take advantage of the Taco Tuesday discounts, making it easier for people like you and me to win, but also take advantage of that Play 5, Get 50 deal. That's an absolute no-brainer. Who knows how long that is going to last. So check it out. That link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. Player prop number one, and I don't know if this is going to be a popular pick or a pick in which people don't like. Anthony Edwards under 26.5 points. Now, this is not me saying he's going to have a bad game or anything like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Ant finishes with, 25 points, 5 assists, a certain amount of rebounds too, obviously. Like he's most likely he's going to have the quantity and everything like that. So a 25-5 in game from him, though that wouldn't be all that great, it wouldn't be a bad game, right? The reason I like the under in this spot, first off, if we just look at his history against this Thunder team. So this is Outlier, guys. I also have a link down in the description for this as well if you do want to check it out. 7-day free trial with that link. So go check it out. This is my favorite player prop research tool. These are his numbers against OKC. Now, obviously, we're dating back a few years, but if we just look at the ones from this season here on, you could see 20, 23, 29, 17. When he was on the road against them, he's only had one game which he goes over, and that was by a half point there. His field goal percentage numbers just aren't all that tremendous, right? This season, 28, 38, 33, 50, I guess is good, but he only shot the ball 12 times. So, yes, we're looking for Ant to not exactly struggle. Again, 25 points is something I see him scoring, which is only a bucket away from cashing the over. So I don't want to act like this is that big of a call here. But so far in the playoffs, you can kind of see he's been playing 40 minutes. That worries me a little bit because on the season, when he does play 40-plus minutes, he's had himself a decent season, right? He's hit the over in 13 of 18 games. One, not so much as of late, and then two, when we keep those minutes there, that was the only one that he hit the over in against OKC. So again, there are some reasons to pause and want to be cautious. But the way that he's going to score is going to be off the pick and roll, in transition. He does get to the foul line, but the Thunder should be pretty damn good at stopping all of that. The foul line maybe being the one that I'm worried about the most, but look at the field goal attempts here, right? If we take away this minutes, and this is all great stuff that you can do on Outlier, guys. Field goal attempts, 16 field goal attempts per game, right? Against this Thunder team. On the season, he was averaging 20. So the Thunder are getting the ball out of his hands fairly quickly in these possessions and whatnot. You could see 12, 18, 21, and 15. All this season. Obviously, these ones being last year and the year before could be a little bit different. But yes, I do think because of the pick and roll, because of the idea that they will stop the ball handler in isolation, Anthony Edwards will be passing it more. So if you want to take a peek at his assist numbers, I don't mind it. 7, 7, and 8 assists in his last 3 games here. And you're getting plus 138 over on FanDuel. So that could be a pivot as well. You could even look at, over 4.5 if you want to pay the juice. But I do think that this is a spot in which, looking at him, I think that they kind of make sure at least that Anthony Edwards isn't going to go for 40 on us tonight. And I understand, famous last words, right? The next player that we look at, and these are 2 Minnesota props as of right now. We will be continuing to look, and if I add anything in, guys, I'll make sure to add it in the final play so you guys, know exactly the reasoning and rationale. But I like Dante DiVincenzo for plus money right now on ProfitX Novig's FanDuel, over 9.5 points. 3 straight games against the Thunder here. Has he been all that great in the playoffs? Not so much. He's not shooting the ball all that tremendously, right? He's shooting the ball actually a decent amount, but he's shooting like 20% from the field. So we want to see that a little bit, to jump a little bit. But I've already talked about the spot up and whatnot. I think that we're going to get some decent spot up opportunities out of DiVincenzo, which is obviously what we've seen here, right? Look at his 3-point attempts, 9, 16, 7. He should shoot the ball a decent amount if these trends against the Thunder track. And we've seen Kristen Brown look good against them, the shooting guard and that type of thing. So maybe some positional aspects there as well. So yeah, DiVincenzo's over in points. Anthony Edwards is under in points. We'll see how that plays out. Again, keep an eye on the final plays, guys, where I actually show you what I'm locking in myself and rolling with myself. Because, if you want to fade me, if you want to ride me, it'll all be there. So, yeah, make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment. That'll take you over there to the Guy Boston Sports site. And that's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.